The war between Israel and Hezbollah is over for now, but the fate of 2 Israeli soldiers kidnapped by Hezbollah is still unclear. So far there's no sign of life. Their kidnapping triggered the war. Hezbollah is demanding the release of Lebanese and Israeli jails and the release of Samir Kuntar. Rumors out of Lebanon are suggesting that Hezbollah wants to use information on missing Israeli navigator Ron Arad for any deal with Israel on the release of the kidnapped soldiers. Arad was captured by Amal militiamen in October 1986 and later sold to Hezbollah. Some rumors coming out of Lebanon claim that he might be alive. Hezbollah has used information and disinformation on Arad ever since to obtain the release of Lebanese and Israeli jails. The only kidnapped soldier Israel knows is alive is Gilad Shalit, who was kidnapped by Hamas militiamen over 2 months ago in the Gaza Strip. Hamas demands the release of Palestinian prisoners and says Shalit's release is imminent.
According to what I know from the period I was in the army and the intelligence, I believe that Ron Arad is probably not with us anymore. And we are facing right now lots of disinformation, mainly based from coming from sources who have a very blatant interest in what's going on. So the linking between Ron Arad and the two missing, the kidnapped soldiers. But basically there's nothing to do between the two. If he were alive, do you think that his captors would be interested in giving us a sign of life after 15 or 20 years? If they wanted something from us, certainly they might have the interest in letting us know that he's alive, like they did at the beginning when he was kept with Amal. So we had pictures and we had also a letter to his family and his daughter. So I think that this is basics. And otherwise, I mean, since there's no sign of life, it means that there's no sign of life, with all what it implies.
One account Israeli intelligence received alleged that Arad managed to escape during an Israeli air raid from a Hezbollah military training base in the Bekaa Valley, but during his escape attempt was shot in the back by a guard. According to other accounts, Hezbollah sold Arad to Iran. Dead or alive, Hezbollah will use information on Arad, Basam Abu-Sharif says.
Ron Arad is a winning card after the war or before the war. Even if Ron Arad was buried, I mean the corpse of Ron Arad, and if Olmert says, no, I'm not ready to exchange that, I think he will be toppled by Israelis the next day.
Abu-Sharif claims that the 2 soldiers kidnapped by Hezbollah are alive.
I have acquaintances and friends whom I met in Amman, and they were clearly saying that both prisoners are in good health. They are taken care of very well, and they've been shown footage of what the Israeli army had done to the villages, to hospitals, to the children, the Qana, and they are waiting for their government, now that the government is saying we're ready to negotiate, to finish negotiations and go back.
Here again, I think that Hezbollah is playing with us like he used to play in the former kidnappings of Israeli soldiers. And in both cases in the past, it appeared that the soldiers were dead. I don't want to pronounce myself on that because I don't know really, but I mean, from the pictures we saw on TV that the cars were hit by missiles, by RPGs and so on, I carry that most probably they might have been wounded in some way or another. If Hezbollah is not interested in giving us a sign of life, well, a living soldier is worth much more than a dead one, so maybe this is the clue.
Germany, the United Nations, and U.S. Reverend Jesse Jackson are all involved in the negotiations over the release of the kidnapped soldiers in Lebanon. Hezbollah appointed Nabi Berri, the Speaker of Lebanese Parliament, to negotiate on their behalf, not the Lebanese government.
Every Lebanese government would be interested in letting Hezbollah bring as many Lebanese as possible back from Israel. So I think that this is basically would be the position that the Lebanese government would have.
There is negotiations going on now, and the United Nations and the Germans are playing a major role. And I tell you more than that, and I challenge the Israeli government to say no, that there is a secret person appointed by the Israeli government and a secret envoy by Annan, and they are starting to draw the agenda and timetable for negotiations, which had started.
Abu-Sharif claims the Palestinian Prime Minister Ismail Haniyeh takes personal care of Shalit's safety. He says that Hamas is holding Shalit in a room with a refrigerator and a television.
It was not a kidnapping. It was not a James Bond operation. There was a battle, lasted for hours, and this poor guy, it's his luck, was taken as a prisoner. Exchange was offered, Israel did not accept. And since then, Israel has been bombarding Gaza. The fact that until now they couldn't spot the prisoner in a very small area called Gaza, which they know meter by meter and inch by inch. That's a big failure for the IDF. And they shouldn't try to hide their failure by more killing. This attitude of killing every day, an average of 10, in Gaza would make people harder. If they accept today 1,000 in return for this soldier, tomorrow they will not accept it. This must be stopped.